clean girl this, soft girl that. We have fully come into an era where our identities as human beings have to be aestheticized, labeled, and packaged up into a box so that other people know, hey, I'm not basic. The issue has arisen from so many people becoming extraordinarily obsessed with wanting to fit in somewhere, feeling like they belong, instead of just looking at themselves with a human lens perspective instead of a social media one. Thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. One scent I will never wear is nothing. That's why Scentbird comes in handy with their $17 monthly subscription of designer fragrances. Each and every month, you have the power to choose what you want to receive so that there's no smelly surprises. One of my favorite scent notes is peony. Chef's kiss. They have over 600 perfumes and colognes with a lot of unisex options. Scentbird carries brands such as Gucci, Prada, Versace. So bougie, babe. Indie brands as well, like Skylar, Heretic, and Confessions of Rebel. With each fragrance, you will receive a 30-day supply so that you can try the fragrance out before committing to that big sized bottle. And that alone can cost $150, some even ranging in between $300 to $500. Absolutely not, sweetheart. Use my code DRAMA55 to receive 55% off at Scentbird. It's just a little over $7 for your first month. Available in Canada and the USA. Thank you once again to Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. It is okay to not have an aesthetic, or even more so, not necessarily identify with one. Human beings are many things, and aesthetics tend to be a one size fits all and not an all fits into this size. Clean girl aesthetic is usually explained to be having slicked back hairstyles with matching sets that cost hundreds of dollars, wearing gold jewelry, having the Hailey Bieber nails, and essentially looking clean, looking neat, looking put together. But is this really an aesthetic, or is this just an attempt to over-amplify being basic? It's sad to me because the term basic in of itself has so many negative connotations surrounding it. Whenever one wants to bully or shame someone on social media for not having an aesthetic or just being a regular everyday human being, because there's 7 billion of us, meaning that there are so many different people. Oh, she's a basic, she's so basic, all because the quote-unquote basics don't feel the need to fit into just one box. But is all of this to say that identifying yourself with just an aesthetic is silly or wrong, even bad? Absolutely not. We are only human, and we go through many phases and stages in life. Hell, I mean, I was an emo kid before I ever was a goth. Can I just say a quick shout out to the emo goth pipeline? Love it. But that's another problem within itself. Subcultures being aestheticized to the point of, wait, is this actually about music and the culture still? Or is it just about the fashion? That's where this trickles over into clean girl goth.
Clean girl goth. Is this ridiculous?
And here is what my honest opinion about the entire clean girl goth thing. I think it's just another way of trying to feel different than just basic, because like we said before, there are so many negative connotations surrounding the fact that one, being basic is a negative thing, because if you don't dress differently, if you don't look differently, if you don't have your own thing, well, you probably don't have a personality of your own. Ew, 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 ew. Dressing in all black doesn't necessarily mean you're a goth, but not dressing in black doesn't mean that you're not goth. Clean girl goth just means the exact same thing that clean girl means, just without the goth. Clean girl goth is already trying to reclaim something that already is well and alive and existing. And I feel like the fashion subculture, you know, with gothic aesthetic and whatnot. People were even trying to come up with different names for clean girl goth because it doesn't really make all that much sense, since the quote-unquote clean girl goths don't listen to goth music, they don't particularly have an interest in goth culture, they're just wearing black and looking like a clean girl and going, oh my god, wearing black, clean girl goth. And people were even trying to rename it to Dark Clean Girl Edition, and my brain was about to combust. Mostly because things don't really need to have a name, especially when it comes to just being a basic girly. There isn't anything wrong in that, and I feel like most of the reason people think that being basic is a bad thing is because that is a main point of shaming someone when there's nothing else to really shame them for. Here's where it takes a bit of a turn. Clean girl or clean girl goth, what have you, presents to be classist and body shaming at times. Some would even go as far as to say fat phobic. I have seen some fat phobia within the whole clean girl aesthetic, and I feel like that really isn't fair because, I mean, what are you saying? That weight is dirty, fat is dirty? That's gross to me, dude. And that completely defeats the entire purpose of what clean girl even is in the first place, because if it's about being clean, then wouldn't you just have to get in the shower and give your little butt a bit of a scrub? You could argue that this is just a toxic minority of people who are just being that, toxic. However, it is a little bit of an issue when an aesthetic claims to be this. Clean girl is excluding people of certain backgrounds, of certain weight ranges, because it doesn't fit into clean girl. Like, you have to be rich and really skinny with your slicked back hair and Bottega earrings. But then that brings into question, why are there rules under clean girl? If you're clean, you're clean. And I think this is what a little bit of the problem is with over aestheticizing things, is that it becomes this community of something that it isn't in the first place. So as we've discussed, clean girl is looking a certain way, putting yourself together, being clean, showered, what have you. But then trying to exclude certain kinds of people, once again, just defeats the entire purpose of the aesthetic to begin with, because then would you just say that it isn't an aesthetic, it's a type of person? And that, my friends, is kind of gross. Now, with the new year micro trend predictions, clean girl has been something that I've been seeing a lot of on the cards for what is to be very popular this year. And what's going to be very popular this year is embracing the basicness. And honestly, I love that. I love the fact that people will embrace just not having to be anything. One thing I personally don't like about existing in a subculture online is the fact that there is this weird conformity that goes into that. And as you all know, I'm a goth. I adore and love goth music. However, the amount of times that people have been like, well, you're not goth because you don't look like this today, is absolutely insane to me. And that is why I sit here all the time and advocate for people to look and present the way that they want to, because you could say that I look pretty basic right now. Is there anything wrong with that? I truly don't think so. I think it's social media obsessed weirdos who care so much about what other people dress like every single day. There is a particular content creator that I'm not going to mention that kind of sparked my interest in the clean girl aesthetic, and it was this girl. She's a clean girl, and there was one day that she wasn't presenting clean girl. She was looking a little bit messy, and we all have those days. And there were like a weird amount of comments on this video, so I'm like looking at it, and people are literally putting her down for not being clean girl anymore. And I'm just thinking, guys, like, you know how aesthetics work, right? You don't like eat, breathe, sleep, and shit it. I would say it's more of kind of like a social media sort of thing as opposed to real life, because there was somebody who was showing a real day in the life of a clean girl, but she's not clean girl anymore because she didn't wake up like that. I don't know. It was very like 12-year-old kind of discourse to me, and it was surprising to see the fact that it wasn't actually 12-year-olds who were partaking in this discourse. It was grown-ups, like my age grown-ups. What the guys? All that to say, embrace your basicness. There is nothing wrong with not dressing up every single day of your entire existence. It is not really possible to do that anyways. And I feel like the people who are obsessed with that are looking for some sort of validation in being the real clean girl, in being the real this aesthetic name. So with all of that being said, everybody, I love talking about these kinds of aesthetics. So if you have any that you would like me to take a look into and give you my opinions on, send it over to dramakweensubmissions@gmail.com. I cannot wait to see your guys' submissions. Shout out to the clean girls, shout out to the dirty girls, shout out to absolutely everybody. Thank you for your stay at Yappersville today. Take care of yourselves, and most of all, love your fucking selves.